Masechet Pesachim, first chapter, first Mishnah. כבר הזכרנו בפתיחה למסכתנו, we already explained in introduction, שחייבו חכמים לבדוק לפני הפסח את החמץ. The sages said that you have to check for chametz before פסח. היינו, לחפש אחרי החמץ בכל מקום שהוא מצוי שם, which means you have to look for chametz at every place that you usually keep chametz. Why? It's either from the Torah or at least from the rabbis, because there's a commandment to destroy it completely, לבערו, to burn it. בחיוב זה של בדיקת חמץ, in this...
לבערו זה מדרבנן או מתורה? מדרבנן.
We had two opinions, if you remember. We discussed, some say it's from the Torah, some say it's from the Rabbanat. בחיוב זה של בדיקת חמץ, in this obligation of checking for chametz, עוסקת משנתנו. That's what our Mishnah is dealing with. ונחלקו המפרשים בטעם הבדיקה. And the commentaries are going to argue, why do you need to check? In other words, there's going to be different opinions for the reason for the checking. Let's see. Rashi מפרש, Rashi explains, כדי שלא יעבור על בל ייראה ובל יימצא, because the Torah told you that it should not be seen and it should not be found. כלומר, שאף על פי שביטל את החמץ בליבו, that even though it's not yours, it still can be seen and it still can be found. ומן התורה, and from the Torah, די בביטול בלבד. From the Torah it says it's enough to nullify it in your brain. That's what Rashi says. Yeah. It's enough to nullify it in your brain. מכל מקום, nevertheless, even though it's enough to have in your brain, מכל מקום חייב לבדקו כדי לבערו. You still need to check it in order to burn it. לפי שהביטול תלוי במחשבתו של אדם, because the nullification depends on a person's thought. שיבטלנו בלב שלם, that you should do it with a complete heart, ויוציאנו מליבו לגמרי. And he's going to take it completely out of your heart. And what's the problem? Rashi says, אין דעת כל בני אדם שווה. It says, you don't know if everybody is really completely nullifying the chametz completely in his heart. הילקח חששו, therefore they were worried, שמא לא יבטלנו בליבו לגמרי, maybe he's not going to completely remove it from the heart, ונמצא עובר על בל ייראה ובל מרצה. And then he's transgressing on it should not be kept and it should not be found. This is the run according to Rashi. והרב מברטנורה כותב, the Bartenura writes a different reason, not because of that. What's Bartenura's reason? שחוששים שמא ימצא גלוסקה יפה. Bartenura says, I know it's yours, and I know I know it's not yours because you nullified it, but I'm worried maybe you're going to come home, going to go to one of the rooms, and then you find a nice donut somewhere. You see a nice donut. וימלך על ביטולו ויחשוב עליה לאכלה. And at that moment he's going to say, I would like to eat it. Yeah? At that moment, even before he ate it, at that moment he says, I would like to eat it, it automatically becomes his again. It was hefker. Now he was planning to eat it, and then even if he reminds himself, no, it's Pesach, I'm not allowed to eat it, he's still in trouble now.
No, it's not perfect.
Yeah, now it's his. It becomes his now. ויעבור על בל ייראה ובל יימצא. And then he's transgressing on בל ייראה ובל יימצא. אבל בעלי תוספות מקשים על פירושו של רש"י. The Tosfos disagrees with Rashi. שהרי אמרו בגמרא, because the Gemara says, הבודק צריך שיבטל. It says, the one who checks, he needs to nullify. Tosfos says, ומן התורה די בביטול בלבד. And from the Torah, it's enough in the nullification. You don't need to burn. אם כן, למה הצריכו חכמים בדיקה כלל? So if this is true, why did the sages say you need to check it all? מכאן נראה להם, from here it looks to them, שטעם הבדיקה הוא, that the reason for the checking הוא לפי שמא ימצא חמץ בפסח ויבוא לאכלו. It says they are afraid that you're going to come to see chametz on Pesach and you're going to come to eat it. והחמירו בחמץ יותר מבשאר איסורים. And the sages were more strict in chametz more than other prohibitions. Why? Why in other prohibitions you're not strict and in Pesach you are strict? You're not worried that you're going to have, for example, dog food, which is not kosher. You're allowed to keep in your house. It's not kosher. Or even food that is befitting for dogs and humans, right? You're allowed, if it's not kosher, to keep in your house. You're not worried about it. You might, some people do eat it, but the entire year you don't eat it. It's not like you have a time in the year where you do it. Chametz bePesach, the entire year it's kosher. It's only for 1 week it's not kosher, and you're used to eating it the entire year. That's the problem. לפי שאדם רגיל בו כל השנה, because a person is used to eating chametz the entire year, he's going to forget. 2 days later, he wakes up at night, he's going down to somewhere and he sees a donut, he's going to come and eat it. It's automatic. He doesn't think about it. Or, this is the one thing, or, לפי שהחמירה התורה, or there's another opinion, that it's the Torah itself made the strictness, not the rabbis, the Torah itself, שעובר עליו בבל ייראה ובל יימצא. החמירו חכמים לבדוק את החמץ ולבערו אפילו כשביטלו. So the sage says you have to do to check and to not to check. You have to nullify and to burn, because the Torah itself tells you this is very severe. גזירה שמא יבוא לאכלו. It's a decree, maybe you're going to come to eat it.
Rabbi, I understand here that לבערו זה מרבנן. That's what I understand.
I'm not sure because I'm not sure you're right, because look what. Yeah, but I'll answer. Or look at the or. לפי שהחמירה התורה בחמץ.
כן, כלל שזה חמץ.
התורה החמירה בחמץ.
החמירה לא איזה, אבל היא לא החמירה בביאור. היא לא החמירה
You're talking about only for the burning. Yeah. For the burning, it's from the rabbis. Yeah. Let me just check, because I'm not even sure about that. Yeah, because before... No, בהקדמה we says, ויש, let me see.
לא כתוב שם, וביארתם את החמץ...
Yeah, so we did bring an opinion that the tashbitu before, some says it's from the Torah.
So tashbitu means...
And so we did have such a, it says, ויש דעה, he brings, and there's an opinion, שאף לסוברים שביטול בלב מועיל, that even those who says that just nullification in the heart is enough, היינו לחמץ שאינו ידוע לו. It is chametz that he doesn't know about. אבל חמץ הידוע לו, מצוות השבתתו על ידי ביורו מן העולם. Yeah, so there is such an opinion, and also that it itself, the biur, is from the Torah. Yeah. Over here, it doesn't bring the other opinion. I don't know why, but there is such an opinion. Okay. Masechet Pesachim. We're going to start the thing itself. We're Pesachim, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Aleph. Pesach, Moed, Pesach, Aleph Aleph. Or ל-14, on the night of the 14, which means the day before Pesach, הלילה שלפני יום ה-14 בניסן, the night that is before the 14th of Nisan. Yeah.
לפני י"ד.
Yeah. The night before. When Yudalet starts. When Yudalet starts. When Yudalet starts, yeah. בודקים את החמץ. We check the chametz. מחפשים את החמץ. We need to look for the chametz. בכל המקומות שהוא מצוי שם לשם ביורו. In all the places that is found there in order to burn it. מהטעמים שכבר ביארנו. From the reasons that we already mentioned. We mentioned many reasons already. Let's say it's from the rabbis, because it makes it the easier. Okay? The easiest. Yeah, but there's other opinions, just that you know. Le'or haner, and how do you have to check for chametz? You have to check by the light of the candle. It says, she'or haner yafe lebdika. He says, because the light of the candle is good for checking. So he says, well, that doesn't make sense. The day is better for checking, isn't it? Anybody has an opinion over here? What's going on? Because if you check in the day, for example, if you need to check over here, right, during the day, in this room, you come into the room, you look around, you see everything, right? I don't see nothing. It's okay. There's no chametz over here. But if you come at night and you come and you're with the candle doesn't have a long, a big area. So you actually have to go everywhere and really shine with the candle to see every point. So then you really check. Remember, they don't have light bulbs like us. Closely. That's why it says by the light of the candle. שאור הנר יפה לבדיקה, that the light of the candle is good for checking. ואף על פי שמותר להשעות את החמץ עד חצות היום, even though you're allowed to keep the chametz, like we learned before, until midday of the 14th, של ערב פסח, מכל מקום תקנו חכמים שתהיה בדיקת החמץ בלילה שלפניו. The sage says the checking of the chametz has to be at the night before it. לפי שבלילה, first reason, first of all, where are you during the day? During the day, you're at your job, you're running around, you're buying stuff for Pesach, you're bringing this Pesach sacrifice, you're going to be busy. לפי שבלילה בני אדם מצויים בבתיהם. At night, what do? You're at your house. So that's a good time to tell you to check. ועוד, לפי שמצוות הבדיקה היא בנר, because like also, the commandment itself of checking has to be to the light of a candle. ואור הנר יפה לבדיקה בלילה יותר מביום. And the light of the candle is better at night than in the day, because in the day you don't even need a candle. You can see everything without it. You're not going to come to check good. ומכל מקום, מי שלא בדק בלילה, nevertheless, anybody who did not check at night, והוא בודק ב-14 ניסן בבוקר, and he checks on the 14th of Nisan in the morning, צריך שיבדוק גם כן לאור הנר. He also needs to check by the light of the candle. Even though you can say there's almost no point, but you still have to do it with the light of the candle. So now, where do you need to check? Next subject. כל מקום שאין מכניסים בו חמץ, every place that you don't put in it chametz, כל השנה, the entire year. So if there's no chametz in that place, no chametz goes there the entire year, אין צריך בדיקה. You don't need to check it at all. Yeah, so there are some places you never eat. Yeah, you don't need to check those places. Oh. Give an what?
In the bathroom.
Yeah, maybe in the mikveh, in the bathroom, in your attic.
The attic.
Yeah, whatever. שאין חייבים לבדוק אלא במקומות. He says you're only obligated to check in which places? In places שדרך בני אדם להכניס שם לפעמים חמץ. At the places that you sometimes put chametz in there. That's the only places you need to check. If you don't put chametz, don't check. You don't have to check. Question?
No, I know with bdikat chametz they used to tell you to check in the charitzim.
Yeah, but in the charitzim, where you in the rooms you put chametz.
Okay.
If you don't put chametz in that room, you don't have to check it, even the room. Forget the charitzim. Not even the room you don't have to check. It's only a room that there was chametz in, you have to check. ולמה אמרו חכמים? So then the sages, we see from another place, the sages say something very strange. What did the sages says? ולמה אמרו חכמים שני שורות במרתף? The sages says that you have to check 2 rows of barrels in the cellar. Why? You don't put, nobody eats in the cellar. שתי שורות של חביות יין הסדורות במרתף צריכות בדיקה. These 2 rows of wine that are in the cellar, you need to check it. והרי אין מכניסים חמץ במרתף. It says people didn't keep chametz in the cellars. So it says, no, we're talking about a cellar that you sometimes do put bread in. מקום שמכניסים בו חמץ. It is a place that you do enter to eat חמץ. לא אמרו אלא במרתף שמכניסים בו חמץ. They were talking about a cellar that sometimes you do put chametz. כגון, for example, Usually a cellar they used to keep for wine or for vegetables, not for chametz. כגון מרתף של יין, for what's the example? Let's say you have a cellar only for wine. The cellar is only for wine. They will still require you to check a cellar for wine. It says, why? I only put my wines over there. I don't put any bread over there. שלוקח ממנו יין לשולחנו. I only take wine to it, to my table. ופעמים הוא עומד בתוך הסעודה כשפיתו בידו, but sometimes you're in the middle of the meal and you need a bottle of wine. There's no more wine. So you take your sandwich with you or your bread with you and you walk down, you're right, to get a bottle of wine. ונכנס למרתף להביא משם יין. And you go into the cellar to bring wine and you put your bread down and to look for which wine you want. And by that, and you might forget it over there. So it's a place that even though you don't put wine, there's a possibility that chametz will go into it. You still need to check those places. ושוכח שם את הפת. And he forgets over there the what do you call it? The bread. וכיצד בודקים שתי שורות במרתף? Now, when you say you need to check 2 rows of barrels in the cellar, we're going to have a disagreement which 2 rows we're talking about. What's the disagreement? בית שמאי אומרים, the house of Shammai says, שתי שורות על פני כל המרתף. 2 rows on the face of the whole cellar. What does that mean? החביות במרתף של יין סדורות שורות. The barrels are on top of each other, rows by rows. זו אצל זו, ועליהן חביות עד התקרה. And it's all the way to the ceiling and all the way to the back. ונחלקו המוראים בפירוש דברי בית שמאי. There's 2 opinions of what בית שמאי tells you when he tells you have to take 2 rows. In בית שמאי, we're not sure which 2 rows בית שמאי is talking about. שתי שורות, he says 2 rows על פני כל המרתף. 2 rows on the face of the whole cellar. So he says, what is it talking about? יש אומרים שבודק את סדרת החביות שכנגד הכניסה בחזית. So it's, as soon as you walk in, there's going to be barrels in front of you. מן הארץ ועד התקרה. So you have to check it from the ground all the way to the ceiling, and also the inner one, from the ground all the way to the ceiling. So the first 2 rows, according to them that you come in, you have to check. והסדרה השנייה שלכם, והן נקראות שתי שורות על פני כל המרתף. This is what it means, 2 rows on the entire cellar. לרוחבו ולגובו, to the width and to the height. That's the first opinion in בית שמאי. Another opinion in בית שמאי, ויש אומרים שאינו בודק את הסדרה השנייה, האנכית שבפנים, אלא את הסדרה העליונה, האפקית, הרואה את התקרה. Some say, no, that's not what בית שמאי meant. He meant the first row and the top all the way to the wall. Not just the first 2. So the 2 rows means this row and the top row, because that's where you're going to put the bread.
2 stories.
Yeah. Not 2 stories. It can be 100 stories. It can be 100 rows all the way back to the end.
No, as far as height, to go all the way to the top.
To go to the top
It
floor.
doesn't make sense because the guy is not going to climb with the sandwich on the top of the this and put it there.
Yeah, but you don't know how.
He's going to put it down somewhere comfortable and climb up.
Yeah, but you don't know how tall the cellars was. It was not the cellars today. The cellar was today, a cellar. You go in like this.
So you put a barrel on the top of the barrel.
Yeah, and then you put it on top.
55 gallon already you're high.
So maybe they had 23 gallon.
Very rich.
Maybe they had 3, and the cellars were small. You don't know the height of the cellar. Yeah. Yeah. So he says, even if the cellar is very, very deep, you have to go all the way to the end in the top row.
Are you worried about when a mouse or something might carry chametz around?
Maybe. We didn't get to that yet. We'll see soon in the next one. כלומר, ששתי השורות הם סדרה האנכית שבחזית המרתף, והסדרה האפקית העליונה וצורתם כמין ד'. So you have a ד' according to him. This one and this one. So there's 2 opinions in בית שמאי. One says this one and this one, and one says this one and this one. Okay. ובית הלל אומרים, and בית הלל says, שתי שורות החיצוניות שהן העליונות. בית הלל is not so stringent as בית שמאי. He says you don't need to go all the way all the way here and all the way there. How much? The 2 rows, the outer ones, the upper ones. What does that mean? אין צורך לבדוק 2 שורות. He says, you don't need to check 2 rows שעל פני כל המרתף, אלא 2 השורות החיצוניות בלבד. You only need to check the upper ones, the outer ones, שהן לרוחב המרתף. That they are to the width of the cellar. ואף בדברי בית הלל נחלקו בגמרא, and even in the words of בית הלל, we're not sure what בית הלל means. יש אומרים השורה העליונה והשורה שלמטה ממנה. Some say, all בית הלל says that you have to check the upper row when you come in and the one below it. That's it. ושתיהן כנגד הכניסה, which means this one and this one. ויש אומרים השורה העליונה והשורה שלפנים ממנה. And some says the upper row and the upper row behind it. Yeah, so it's either going this way or going that way. 2 rows. היינו 2 השורות הראשונות הראו את התקרה. Same. But they're not worried as much as him. You can see. It's the same svaros exactly. Just not as much. Beit Shammai is worried all the way to the floor and all the way to the back. And they're worried just 1 row over here and 1 row over there. That's the only thing.
Because the thing that you put it probably on the top, you're not going to put it under the That's what they come.
Yeah. It says a person comes, is going to put it right over there where it's comfortable. Okay. בעניין הלשון אור ל-14. It says light to the 14, and it's actually the beginning of the night of the 14. Remember, in Judaism, the day starts with the night. Sunset starts the day. So it's actually Yud Gimel. As soon as Yud Gimel is over, that will becomes 13th of Adar is over. At that sunset, it becomes 14th. Thank you. Yeah.
When birthday finish, it's right there.
That's right. Is that what it is? Your birthday is Yud Gimel? בעניין הלשון אור ל-14, נאמר פירושים שונים. It says, why does it use this kind of terms, light to the 14? יש מבארים שקורא התנא ללילה אור. So some says, the night is called light. Says, where do we see this kind of thing? Says, many places in the Torah, you call night light. כגון כדרך שקוראים לעיוור סגי נהור. Just like we call a blind person, somebody who sees well. Yeah? Or we call a cemetery Beit HaChaim. We call it the house of live people. Yeah, but that's something else. Yeah, Bet Refuah. Yeah, but that's you say no. But Bet Refuah means you get healed there. It doesn't. Yeah, Bet Cholim is yeah, but that's not. Yeah, but Bet Refuah makes sense. Or it doesn't make sense. It's not the opposite. Yeah, Bet Refuah still makes sense, or doesn't make sense.
Oh, Bet HaChaim גם לא makes sense.
Exactly, so that's the example. Bet HaChaim is a good example. Yeah. וכיוון בזה להתחיל מסכתנו בלשון מעולה. So it says, why did it? Because you don't want to say night of the 14. You don't start something nice with black, something evil. Night represents something good. You want to start it with light. So that's why it says, it uses the word light of the 14.
Why don't they use Ben Arbaim? כמו בתורה.
Because it's not Ben Arbaim. It's when Yudar started. Ben Arbaim, you're not allowed to check Ben Hashmashot. It doesn't count. You have to check on the 14th. Not Ben Hashmashot. After sunset. Or after the 3 stars, let's call it. After 3 stars, sorry. משום ויש מוסיפים משום פתח דבריך יאיר. It says you open your words with the good tidings. You don't open your words with bad tidings. בעל תפארת ישראל כותב, לפי שמצוות בדיקת החמץ היא בתחילת הערב. It says the checking of the chametz in the beginning of the evening, כשעדיין אור קצת, when it's still a little light. We're going to see a little light. או שהכוונה היא משעת צאת הכוכבים. Or the meaning, what does it mean? From the time the stars shine. So it says, the stars, when the stars starts to shine, that's why you use the word or. So that's all the combination why we use the word or. Let's do Mishnah Bet because it has to do with your question, and it's very, very short. The logic of before, it says for both Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel is, right? We're going to have a problem both with Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel with logic. The logic would have been if you put your bread, you're not going to put your bread ever on the second row. That doesn't make sense at all. If you have the rows in front of you, you're going to put it either in the top row, on top of the whole thing, but you're not going to go all the way to put it in the second row. Nobody's going to do that.
And how much?
No, it means they're stacked completely next to each other. Like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd have to check the whole basement if you can go in between them. You'd have to check everywhere. It's only where places you cannot reach. That's the whole idea. Right? So, in the previous Mishnah, what's the logic to check in the second row? Because you don't reach it. In other words, it's a place you never put Chametz. You yourself never put Chametz. And both Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, according to some opinion, require you to check on the second row. So the question is why? So it looks like the reason is why. Maybe you're not afraid that you put it there, but a mouse might have taken it there. Right? A mouse might have taken it there. And then you worry that what?
You're probably going to eat it, no?
Let's say he keeps it there. Some mice keep it there for the winter, whatever. Yeah, they keep it there. And they're afraid you're going to find it. Yeah. Okay. So since we are introduced to this concept that there's a mice who's taking a place, food from one place to the other, we're going to go to Mishnah Bet.